I said, God, you gotta move this mountain. I just don't see it any other way. I'm too weak to make the climb. I need a miracle this time. That's when
Good afternoon. We are back. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I am your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC in Christ Radio, your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, and on Abundant TV. Yeah, that's all over Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. So there's some. I don't think I told Melissa about that, but she's always beautiful anyway, so it doesn't matter where we're airing. You know, Melissa is all over the country now, and also in several other countries as well. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we're real proud to have that platform. Been doing this for about 3 weeks and very excited about the number of listeners that we have watching us right absolutely now. Wanted to mention on Thursday's show, 1 o'clock, I'm going to be talking with Rob Patz. Now, he is the owner of Abundant TV. He's been on the show several times. And also Susie Stover, who is a home designer with Ethan Allen. She is in Asheville, North Carolina, will be with us. And then music group Fleenists will be with us. We're excited to be talking with them as well. Today's show, we have Ann Eubank, who's with the Alabama Legislative Watchdogs. Melissa, sometimes she's the reason I get kicked off of Facebook Live.
Well, I saw that, and I'm definitely listening to that one.
Yeah, she's pretty awesome. So we're going to be talking about the election, and you'll hear me vent and talk about, hey, why didn't more people in Alabama get out there and vote? Only like 12% or something like that of Alabamians. So if you start fussing with me about the way the country is, I'm going to ask a simple question. Did you vote?
Did you vote?
No, I'm going to say, I don't hear no more.
Nope. Yep. I agree with you on that.
Absolutely. Melissa Ledbetter is with me right now, and she's a work experience coordinator and also assistant to the Dean at Workforce Development and Skills Training, Northeast Alabama Community College. Always great to have you on the show, girl.
I think I should get an award, or I don't know, a plaque. If I got a plaque, would they be able to fit my title on there?
I was going to suggest you get a poster for a business card instead of those little, it's not big enough.
Well, I asked permission that only the first part was put on there because I'm always with Dean Wright. So whatever he needs me to do, I will do it. But that is a long title to put on a business card. So we just left that part out.
I get you. I used to be with GTE Corporate. And so at first I handled the government and corporate account. So I got to go into all the colleges and all that. It was a whole lot of fun. And Fort McClellan and all that. That was one of my big accounts. And so they give me this. They said, we're giving you a promotion. And I said, what is it? They said, you're a commercial account executive. And I said, what's that? And I said, could we shorten it down to salesperson? I don't mind being a salesperson. I'm good, because it was kind of like this long title. But anyway, it was a good career and I had a whole lot of fun. But I wanted to mention this, and this is for you folks who are working for a company right now, and you would like to go to Northeast and maybe just, take some courses to better yourself, make yourself better on the job. And companies like that, because GTE, what they would do, and a lot of companies do this, if you went back to college, they would go ahead and do some reimbursement. Now, there's criteria. You had to have a particular grade point average, and you had to promise you're going to be with them for another year. But that's something that local companies do. Is that right?
It's a great incentive. And I always encourage companies when we meet with them that's a great benefit, because we all like a larger paycheck, but we also want to feel that more self-worth when you have responsibilities, additional responsibilities. So obviously getting specific training to help you in those responsibilities is the way to go. So reimbursement on college costs, definitely a huge benefit.
Absolutely. I don't know if you've seen some of the segments. I have an Ann Elizabeth who is 100 years old. She'll be 101 years old, sharp as a tack. And so I asked her, I said, how do you do it? I said, because you can remember stuff that most 20-year-olds can't remember. And she said, well, I try to stay sharp. I memorize Bible verses. And she said, another thing I like to do is crossword puzzles. And I love to read, because I don't think you can ever be a know-it-all. She said, there's always something to learn.
Yeah, I agree with that. I had a boss at the DA's office that every morning when I would come in, he was sitting at the breakfast table, well, the breakfast table, the break room table, and he was doing the morning crossword puzzle. And he did that every single morning. And that was the reason, was to keep himself sharp.
Mhm. Absolutely, it does. So let's talk about your title.
Okay.
And what do you do at Northeast Alabama Community College?
So I do whatever they tell me to do is a big thing. So my main responsibility is recruitment of business and industry for our students. So it's a big deal when students are going to college and they are able to get employment prior to graduating because they have that hands-on training. And so they may want to stay with that business, or they may want to, go somewhere else. So this is a huge opportunity for them to be able to get that on their resume. And, we have to teach the theory part of it, but the hands-on practice is something that you can't replace. And all of us in our roles right now know that there's a certain extent of experience that you can't get from the classroom, no matter what you are. So that's a big thing that I do, is I pull in business and industry. We also do training for business and industry. So depending on what their needs are, I meet with them and we collaborate on how we can serve them as a college as well. So that's just one portion of it. There's also recruitment of students, specifically for the tech program. So that's just helping them in dual enrollment and being able to navigate the waters of entering college, because it's intimidating to a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. And the way things changed, I want to go back to business again. And this is for your employees, or the Mr. and Mrs. Employer as well. Just think about how computers have changed through the years. I mean, I would think you're constantly, I'm using my Aunt Elizabeth again as a primary reason for it. She said, world changes. You got to keep up. So she is just one of those who really believes you need to be ready for constant change as well.
Yes. Well, and with business and industry right now, I mean, when you drive down the road, how many hiring signs are you seeing? So business and industry has to stay competitive with their rates, with their benefits, and also what they provide to their employees. So any type of training methods that they can add, or us being able to provide the students to the business and industry, definitely helps.
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes I feel like maybe people aren't as ambitious as they used to be. Because I'm just going to tell you this right now, Melissa. If I were a kid in high school just about to graduate, I would be taking courses there. I would walk across the stage with my high school and some college already, and I would be taking on 2 of those jobs. I mean, really, the pay on it. And then, some businesses are actually paying like, $1,000 of sign-on bonus. So how can we get a little more? It's okay to be ambitious, isn't it?
Well, so generations change. And apparently this generation is more about experiences and experiencing life. And so they can live off of less as long as they get those experiences. And I appreciate that. I really do, because I'm one that would not take vacation because I need to put in the hours at work and things need to be successful. And if my name's attached to it, it's not going to flop. And to a certain extent, I just never stopped to look at the roses, say, as to speak. And I've started doing that within the past 2 to 3 years. And it's sad that I'm almost 40 and it's just taken me this long to be able to slow down and laugh. But I think that's because I've turned around and I can almost look my oldest twin in the eye. How did we get here?
That'll do it.
So there are us that are workaholics that need to learn that lesson, but I think it's a balanced medium on where we still have to work. We still have to have society moving forward and being able to provide services. But we should also have that balance of family and experiences as well.
100% agree. You know, because you can, now it used to be worse than this. I mean, I know it's hard to imagine, but I mean, when I was younger, oh, it was like, you know, what else can I do? What else can I do for the company? But I found a little more of a balance myself. And I think the same experience you had is when my son became a teenager. And, you know, it's like, oh, I think I probably need to be home more often, you know, because mom's got to be there, dad needs to be there as well. And that can hurt the development of the child.
Yeah.
You're not there for them.
Yeah, I agree with that. You know, the problem is a lot of the times that children are not being raised by parents, they're being raised by grandparents for whatever reason. And I definitely wanted to be a hands-on parent where my children not only were raised by my husband and I, but by also having experiences. So one of the experiences that I did want to mention here, make a little plug, is that our summer STEM camp is coming up here at Northeast. My boys had a blast last summer, and there's going to be other things offered. So definitely check us out there, go online and enroll your child/children to be able to do that, because this is hands-on, getting them outside and in a shop using their hands. And it's just something different during the summer. So that is going to be July 18th through the 21st, and it's $59 per student, but there are scholarships available. So that's something that, you know, I'm not going to be there beside them or spending time with them in that capacity, but it's something of an experience that I want my children to also have.
But you know something, if you can do it, it's the best $59 you'll ever spend on your child's development. Absolutely. And there's something, Melissa, about working with your hands. I don't know, you know, I've got a workshop and I love getting metal and just pounding the daylights out of it. I'm a metal worker, and I mean, it's just, there's something about accomplishing something, planting a garden. I mean, you know, just anything to where you can watch it grow. And especially when you're planting a garden, you can watch life grow.
Right, right. And then you reap your reward, right? I mean, you get to see what grows off of your plants and to be able to enjoy that. So we're actually adding a piece this year. We're going to have medical involved. So our medical assisting program, they're going to go through some hands-on tasks with our students. So I'm looking forward to it. And again, if someone's out there listening and they're saying, well, I raised my grandchild and I'm already living paycheck by paycheck, or I'm living off of Social Security, but that would really be great for my grandchild/children that I'm raising, shoot us an email. Again, there's scholarships available, and we want everybody to be able to enjoy this.
You know, it'd be kind of tough on grandparents right now, because especially the ones who were not really, you know, raised up in the technical world. Right. And all of a sudden they have grandkids who knew how to use an iPad the moment they were born. And I'm not exaggerating much. I know I had a 2-year-old nephew, and this boy was all over the place with my iPad one time. And I asked my niece, I said, do you know that he knows how to use all this stuff? You better be careful with him. And so I was thinking about, you know, what if my mother were raising him instead of my niece raising him? He'd be able to get all kinds of stuff over on her.
Or he wouldn't even have the iPad in the house.
True.
My children, bless their hearts, they are raised with modern, and I shouldn't call us modernized parents. We know how to do everything as far as that goes, but bless their hearts, they're going to have to work for it. There's no need for them to have cell phones. We're one of those. So our children have to play outside.
Well, I think that's the way it should be.
Yeah,
absolutely. You know, you got it, because you mentioned balanced life earlier. That's part of the balanced life.
Well, and they get to play video games once in a blue moon. However, if it's pretty outside, I really don't like for the TV to be on and they need to be out in the woods or hitting a ball, or I don't care if they're walking around the house multiple times. But I was never allowed to be inside. I had to be outside. And that's where I got my imagination from. And so my children also have great imagination. So I'm wanting to be able to grow that for them.
I think that's smart. I'm gonna tell you something I learned at a very, very early age is never say I'm bored.
Nope.
I ever said I was bored. Oh, really? You're bored? Well, then here's the hoe. Go work out in the garden.
Yes. Or I have
Absolutely.
got plenty of things for you to do. You can clean the floor with the toothbrush. I mean, that would be great. Baseboards. My children figured out really fast during COVID homestay when we were like everybody was on lockdown that they got done with their schoolwork and then they left. They went outside and they got lost in the woods because they knew I would find something for them to do or more schoolwork. So it worked out great.
Yeah. And always says, as parents, we have to use our imaginations. We really do.
Yeah.
But I used to use like house cleaning supplies to get my son to work. And so what I would do is he loved science projects and stuff like that. And I would say, let's have a little science project. And in the kitchen, of course, there's ceramic tile in there. And I would say, let's go on ahead and throw some baking soda on it. And I would say, now let's clean it up and we'll do it again. And so, I mean, boy, I had to clean bathroom back in that day.
Yeah.
But there are things that as parents we need to do to get the kids ready for college.
Yes.
And that's part of it right there. Team building. I know you guys had an awesome event last week. And so we thought Mother had COVID, so I didn't get to go. I had to be spellbound because of that.
Okay. I was wondering why you weren't live and in person.
Yeah. So anyway, she doesn't have it, but I still had to be quarantined because I was around her and all that. But she's okay. And but man, I thought you guys had an awesome program put together. This was great.
Look, this was by none of my strengths at all. This was a collaborative effort. The EDA for Jackson and DeKalb, it was really Jackson and DeKalb coming together, which I thought was amazing. And we had 53 vendors set up. I don't know what the total, let me see. It was like around 80 people came through, which of course I'm like in competition with myself where I'm like, next year we're going to have this many people come through. But I feel like it was a great event this year. Last year, it did not go as well because we still had some mandates in place, but there were several excited companies. I got to go around and meet with some HR folks, and hopefully we as Northeast will be able to partner in the workforce effort with them. And we tried to promote some of the programs as well through adult education and workforce. But I was just excited that so many people were filling out applications because at the end of the day, we really need to get some of these positions filled at different business and industry.
What are the hot jobs right now? What were you seeing at the event last week?
It's manufacturing.
Everything.
It is manufacturing, and they need a skill set. Unclaimed baggage was there as well. That's a little bit more retail. Let's see what other ones I'm going through as I'm walking. Foodland was there. A lot of manufacturing, HTPG, RTI was there. I shouldn't have started calling out names because now I don't want companies to be like, she didn't call our name out. Tarcog was there, which that kind of threw me off a little bit. I'll be honest. I walked by and was like, what are y'all doing here? Because I'm used to Tarcog serving Northeast as a government agency. But it serves so many more purposes. So there's different locations, and they're looking for case managers in the Medicaid area. And I think they had some admin assistants. I would think Tarcog would be a really good place to work as well.
I actually interviewed them. They came as a team, several employees.
Oh, good.
Were there, and they were so much fun. As a matter of fact, they really enjoyed it. And I said, we need to do this pretty regular, guys. And they were going, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. So anyway,
they had a crew with them.
Yeah.
And I got to talk to several of them, and they have a lot of energy, which I have a lot of energy. So when I meet someone else with a lot of energy, I feel like I'm not alone in this life. It's just healthcare. A lot of healthcare.
Always going to be healthcare. Always.
So, but that was essentially that covers Playcore was there, which, you know, GH Metal. I don't know if I said their names. I'm getting really nervous that I started name calling because, you know what?
But you know
Well, I want to
something,
call out 53 names,
and again,
but
it's working with your hands, and you,
yeah.
and I would just mention this to you as well. If you have a job, you're working with your hands, I would every 1 or 2 years go into Northeast Alabama Community College and get a refresher course, because so many things are computerized now, you know, and long ago that, you know, you didn't want to work in a manufacturing company back in the day. You know, they were nasty, they were dangerous, they were whatever, but it's not that way anymore. And that needs to get out there to folks. Those are some good jobs.
Well, I think there's a stigma that's attached to technical programs, tech positions, that it's like the lower level. And let me tell you, ever since I worked HR at HTPG, and I worked in adult education that, you know, paired up with a lot of manufacturing plants, and now being in a workforce, I get to work even more with them. And these are some people that have these high skilled positions. They're the ones that are creating things, tangible things, you know, from whether it's machinery or with their hands. And very, very smart people. Longer hours, hard work in a lot of the areas, but I'm telling you, the money is there. So if you come to Northeast and get some stackable credentials, and then if you decide to move on to get an associate's in it, you can start out making quite a bit of money. And the thing is that it's needed all around the United States, all around Alabama, even here locally. So you're definitely going to find a position that takes well good care of you.
You are. And I'm going to say, my dad was a skills person. But now, I mean, we weren't rich or anything like that, but I'm going to tell you what, we had like a new car. I mean, you know, but my dad didn't believe in paying anything on credit. So it was always a cash deal with him. As a matter of fact, one time I went with him, he was buying a car. He wanted a car and a truck. And I said, you're not going to pay cash, are you, again? And he said, well, yeah, I don't do credit. And I said, Dad, you look like a pimp when you're paying cash like that. And so we were just all kind of raised that way, you know. And so my brother, the same, is always had, and he's with a refrigeration company right now.
Yeah.
Paid for his house before he got married. I mean, you know, that's what I've seen from being in that world, is they're more apt to pay cash for houses and more apt to pay cash for cars.
Well, you know, there's good money in these positions. My husband's cousin, he started in tech school doing welding. He finished his welding here at Northeast. He traveled, I want to say it was for 2 years, he traveled being a welder and made quite a bit more money than Nick and I. And then he came back home and got a great position here locally, but was able to afford things paying cash. And now he's providing for his family, and he's gotten these great skills by being able to travel. So it's just good opportunities. We've got to work hard on getting rid of the stigma that you have to go and get a 4-year degree. You have to go and get a master's. It's not for everybody. There are people that are still going to go get their 4-year degree and their master's and be able to work in fields that they choose. But we still need plumbers, and we still need HVAC folks, those building houses. I mean, how far behind are you on calling an electrician right now? You're going to be in line, right? So we just need those same folks to be able to get those skills.
Yeah, we do. And I don't know if you know about this, but an article I have been reading for the past 3 years is that plumbers are the fastest growing millionaires in the U.S. That should tell you something, without having this huge, long credit debt behind you. And I'm going to tell you what, that's turned into a nationwide issue, a problem. I mean, I'm getting phone calls, spam calls, telling me if if I owe a bunch of money. And of course, I'm 63 years old, for goodness sakes. If I haven't paid my college debt off by now, I'll never pay it off.
No.
But those spam calls are coming in all the time, because people are in trouble. College debt.
Well, and you know, I'm not one to worry. At the end of the day, the Lord is in control, and I've always believed that. But God doesn't expect us also to just sit on the side of the road and be like, hey, get someone to drop off a car for me or give me a house. We actually have to be active in what we do. So I would dare to say that we need to be mindful of what's going on around us right now in our society and start preparing. Like the elderly generation did, and just be aware of what's going on. Nobody likes to watch news all day long because there's a bunch of stuff that's sad going on, but you have to also be aware.
Perfect. You do. You have to be aware. But this is another thing, and I'm thinking about the medical field. So I'm thinking about anyone who might be interested in getting into the medical field. You know, you could work in a nursing home, and I'm going to tell you a neat thing about working in a nursing home is you're going to be talking with elderly people. You know what it's like to plant a seed.
Yes.
And they'll tell you about things they had to do. These are things we all need to know. I mean, I have seeds in my freezer that used to be my grandparents' seeds from the 1970s.
Right. Oh, that's time so cherished to be able to spend time with people that really have life experience and to be able to share that with you.
And I just wanted to say this. I said that to say this, that Northeast coaches have the experience. It's not like you just have somebody who says, well, this is how you weld. You actually have people who have experience as welders, as instructors. That's pretty awesome.
Well, and that's across the board. And let me not forget one of our programs that we are expanding. We actually just hired a second instructor because rules were changed with CDL drivers back in February. And so we are expanding our testing. We're expanding our classes. Hopefully we will get to where we can offer some on the weekend, but a CDL driver, I mean, you could make really good money for a course that is not years and years to take. So definitely reach out to us. We have started testing those that have to get their test in before October. So please make sure that you get with us, but also classes will start again soon to be able to get these folks in and get them certified in CDL driving.
Absolutely. Well, Melissa, I know you've got to get out. So you've got just about 2 minutes left in this segment. What would you like to tell the folks before you leave?
So go to our website, go to skills training, go to the programs, tech programs, and check us out there. We have some things coming up. We have, like I said, our summer STEM camp. This is for 5th grade to 12th grade. So if you have a child that is within those age ranges, we would love for you to go sign them up. And again, it's $59, but if you can't afford that, please send us an email and tell us about your situation. We would love to provide a scholarship for your child, grandchild, your whoever you're taking care of. And then that is also right after our summer STEM camp. That is for graduating seniors, not those that are going into their senior year, but that is something where they'll be 2 weeks in a specified course. They will get course credit for that, and they will also receive money for 2 course classes. That is a full mouthful. And of course, if you are going into CDL, make sure you check us out. We are wide open testing, and we'll have classes as well, amongst many, many other things that we're doing. So if you have any more questions, you can always reach out to me.
Absolutely. This is Melissa. And I'm going to tell you why. These folks really do care about your students. They care about you too. If you just want to improve yourself and look better in front of that boss, bosses love knowing their employees are out there to do better themselves, because it also means they better you and your company. So, got it all going on. Melissa, thank you so much for being on the show today. It's always a pleasure.
Thanks for having me, Donna. I always love talking to you.
Absolutely, girl. Okay, let's get ready for a commercial break, and we're going to be right back in just a few minutes, have some more helpful tips, and we also have a lot of announcements to make. This is not a boring area around here, I promise you that. So let's go ahead and get ready for that commercial break. I'll be right back in just a few minutes. Y'all hang in there.
About me, face your fear, shout my name, proclaim the name.